If you're planning a trip to the Gold Coast, you've probably seen Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary at the top of every single bucket list. But at nearly $70 a ticket for general admission, plus extra if you want that iconic koala selfie, is it actually worth your time and money? In this video, we are going to help you decide if Currumbin is a must visit or a skip for your trip. So as I've mentioned in our previous Queensland videos, this trip was very unorganised and impromptu because I was called last minute to go and have surgery in southern Queensland. We visited Currumbin Sanctuary after I had the surgery and I had limited movement. Thankfully, I was able to borrow a wheelchair from Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. They do have a limited supply of them, but it was quite flimsy, so it wasn't that comfortable. But I'll talk a little bit more about accessibility later in the video as well. The Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary opened in 1947 as a lorikeet feeding display by Dr. Alex Griffiths, floriculturist and beekeeper. This was to divert the wild flocks of lorikeets from Dr. Griffiths' flowers. Starting as informal, it gained popularity throughout the 1950s, becoming known as Currumbin Bird Sanctuary. By the mid-1950s, it had become a major attraction on Queensland's southern coast, drawing thousands of visitors during holiday periods. At this stage, Griffiths did not charge admission but accepted donations, and he was becoming known locally as a wildlife carer. It was the first tourism venture in the region to showcase fauna in essentially natural setting. In 1976, the sanctuary was gifted to the Queensland National Trust, who still runs it today. During the 80s and 90s, the Trust undertook extensive redevelopment of the sanctuary. There was new additions such as a children's playground and refurbishment of some of the aviaries. In 1995, the Queensland National Trust adopted a long-term goal to position Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary as a national and international leader of preservation of Australian flora and fauna. And in September of 2009, Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary was listed on the Queensland Heritage Register. Now, as we've discussed in previous videos and as I briefly mentioned at the start of this video, we were in Queensland as I had to have surgery, and whilst I could walk in short spurts, I couldn't walk long distances 6 days post-surgery. We decided that the theme parks were out as I couldn't go on the rides, and I wasn't going to spend the whole day bored in my hotel room. We did see that Currumbin Sanctuary offered wheelchair hire, and so we figured that it might be worth visiting. Unfortunately, the wheelchair we received was quite rickety, and with some sections of the eastern side of the park, like the Lost Valley, it was not accessible due to how steep the hills were. Like, the hills were that steep that I think that you'd be struggling to push a pram with a toddler in it. You'd be making that kid get out and walk. If you use a wheeled walking aid, I would highly recommend making sure you have close contact with the brakes. There is seats dotted around the park, so if you rely on a walking stick, you should be okay. Just make sure you stick to your own pace. The flip side is that the train that goes through the flat parts of the park does make it a lot easier to move around. But the reality is, I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't see some of the animals I wanted to see, such as the red panda. Also, this is why I bring up accessibility in our videos, regardless of location. Majority of the time I can walk fine, but due to major injuries I have with my left leg, there are some things that can be quite difficult for me to access or do. When in the past I've been looking at activities, walks or hikes to do online, when I was looking online I would find information saying it would be fine or a walk or hike was considered easy, only to get to the walk and find that the person who was online stating it was easy found it easy because they could easily do it. They didn't consider if others of varying fitness levels could do it, or if someone with a stroller could do it with their child, or if it was suitable for a wheelchair, or if there were stairs. And I think that one of the things I needed to consider for you who are watching is that the information I'm telling you to make decisions about your trips needs to be clear and concise, so you're not disappointed or frustrated because I said something was easy, but it turns out that it wasn't. We got off the train just in time to see people getting their photos with the koalas. We didn't get one just because I couldn't stand in line for that long. If that is something that you are interested in, there is more information about it on the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary website. Adult tickets are $70 each, and tickets for children between 3 and 17 are $50, which can be purchased online at the Currumbin Sanctuary website or on Klook. If you do use Klook, make sure you use my code BECKTRIESKLOOK for up to 10% off your tickets. The video is not sponsored, it's just that I'm an affiliate with them, so when you use my code, I get a little bit of a commission, you get cheaper tickets, it's a win-win, and you're supporting my channel. That said, if you do live in Queensland, it is probably better to buy a National Trust annual pass. There is also after-hour experiences, which I highly recommend going to the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary website to learn more about. Currumbin Sanctuary is open between 9 AM and 4 PM with last admission at 3:30 PM. The sanctuary is closed on Anzac Day, 25th of April, and Christmas Day, 25th of December. For those who are unaware, Currumbin has one of the bigger dawn Anzac Day services, as well as other services during the day, so having the sanctuary open on the same day would not really be considered respectful. Buses do run by Currumbin Sanctuary, including the one that heads to and from the Coolangatta Airport. Check out Transport Queensland's website for the timetable. Apart from the accessibility, the one thing that I was slightly disappointed about was that the lorikeet feedings are at 8 AM and 4 PM, so just as the park opens and just as the park closes. I have pretty fond memories of doing this as a child with my family, and I was hoping to try it again with Ben. Apart from that, I found Currumbin Sanctuary quite enjoyable to visit. But I then compare the price to, say, Melbourne Zoo, which is about $16 cheaper for an adult, and I do wonder if it's bang for my buck. That said, looking online, it is a comparable price to Australia Zoo, which is further up the Queensland coast. But I've never been to Australia Zoo, so I can't really speak on it. So maybe I need to go back to Queensland and compare the two. If that's something you want to see, make sure you subscribe. But if you are visiting Queensland or Australia for the first time and this is going to be your only chance to visit native Australian animals, go for it. The kids will love the train, you will love the train. There's kids activities dotted around the park as well, so it will be an absolutely amazing day for a family. So there we have it. Yes, Currumbin Sanctuary is tad pricey, but it's worth going to. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, or if you have the ability to, a hype. It really helps the channel out. This is the last video from our impromptu Queensland trip. For the next little while, we'll be focusing on Tasmania. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day.